Are you crazy? Because I know I am, and this is Cardfight Crazy. I'm Joey, and in this video, it is a deck profile of Machinings. First things first, when I'm building a deck, grade 3s. Machining grade 3s. 8 in total. Always feels odd for me, but a few of my decks do have 8 grade 3s. 8 in total, 4 of which are the main Machining Stag Beetle. His skill, when he is placed on Vanguard, choose 2 of your Mega Colony units with Machining in their soul, call them to rearguard at rest, and it gains power equal to their original powers. So call out a 9 and a 7, he gains 16k until the end of that turn. Machining Warsickle, when placed on Vanguard, also has a similar skill. It's counterblast 1 card with Machining. Choose 1 Machining from your soul, call it to rest and rearguard. And Machining Warsickle's second skill is Limit Break 4, counterblast 2. When it attacks a Vanguard and the attack does not hit, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose your opponent's Vanguard and stun it until the end of their next turn. So just can't stand during their stand phase, they can still run, you know, do all that. 3 Legions to avoid decking out for long grinding games, just constantly recycle the Legions. And we have 2 copies of Tarantula Mark II and 1 copy of Scorpion Mark II. Tarantula Mark II has an Act Soul Blast 2 cards with Machining in their card name from your soul, and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and stun it. And then his main ability is Counterblast 1. When your drive check reveals a card that is on your Vanguard circle and this unit is in Legion, choose your opponent's Vanguard and stun it, so random based on drive checking. That's not the important part. It's useful when you get into the really late game and you're going through with it. You can happen because you're just returning the grade 3 over again, and maybe the mates to just try and get it, to try and stun them out. And Machining Scorpion Mark II, great card. I just much prefer to just go with Stag Beetle. It's simpler. You don't have to focus on the Legion, you just ride it and get cards out. But Scorpion Mark II does a similar effect. Once per turn, Counterblast 1 and choose a card that is, or Counterblast 1 and Persona Blast while in Legion, so you can choose it or whatever mate you have on. Choose 3 cards with Machining or the card name from your soul and call them to separate rear guards at rest, and this unit gains power equal to their original powers. Then he has an Act. Once per turn, choose a card with Machining and its card name on your rear guard and put it into your soul. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and stun. 8 rear guards in total. Main one being Stag Beetle. Onto the starter. Machining Little B. Machining Little B is a simple skill from rear guard. Put it into your soul. Choose one of your units. Stand it. Or choose one of your rear guards. I'd love it if you could stand your Vanguard for no reason. Put it into their soul, choose one of your rear guards, stand it. If it stood, it gains plus 3k until end of turn. So it is a great card to stand something from Stag Beetle. Then the next time you ride Stag Beetle, you throw Little B out again and something else, and then you throw Little B back in to stand the units. Since you have to call things at rest, having that to help you stand them back up is useful. 4 heal triggers, all Machinings. Healing is nice. I don't like playing decks without heals.
16 crit.
Machining Scarab, draw triggers. Machinings do have the Margot clone now, but I just don't have any. So, Machining draw triggers. The vast majority of the deck is Machinings. Machining Cicada stand trigger. He has an ability that when this unit is placed on rearguard or Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Machining in his card name, it gains plus 3k until end of turn. He also has the continuous ability, you may play 16 copies of Machining Cicada in your deck. Yeah, so one of those. I've never bothered to do that. I don't really feel like it. I like pure rainbows in this. Machining Firefly is the best Machining trigger. His skill is, when it's placed on rearguard, Counterblast 1, choose one of your units, stand it, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, and stun it. So stand one of your rearguards, stun one of your opponent's rearguards. Very nice. 4 perfect guards. 2 of them are sunnies. 4 all were sunnies before, but they're not anymore. And it's nice. I'm down 2 sunnies now and 2 honeycomb queen. Because honeycomb queen is the dark device perfect guard. So perfect guard ability, sentinel, and then GB1 dark device, which is when your opponent has no standing rear guards in the same column as this unit. So Soul Blast 1, when your unit's attack hits a Vanguard, you might pay the cost. If you do, return it back to hand. The only thing you have to do is have a unit hit and have dark device. Doesn't have to be the attack that it boosted, doesn't have to be its own attack, just has to have 3 copies of Stride Fodder. It's the Dark Face Searcher, and for this deck, more importantly, it's the Stride Fodder. It does suck when it goes in the damage zone or you have to ride it. It's not a machining, so you can't call it out and can't counterblast it with some cards. Machining Caucus. Machining Caucus' skill is on rearguard. When an attack hits a Vanguard that this unit boosts, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and stun it. On hit, stunning pressure. 2 copies of Machining Mosquito. When it's placed on Vanguard or rearguard, you may soul charge 1. 1 copy of Machining Locust. When this unit is placed on rearguard, if your opponent has no standing units, then choose a card from your hand, discard it, and draw a card, if you want. And 1 copy of Brillin Blister for that time when you're going up against restanding Vanguards, because when he's placed on Guardian Circle from hand, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, and it cannot stand until the end of turn. Just automatic stun, cannot stand whatsoever. 6 Legion Mates, 4 of whom are Machining Hornet Mark II, and 2 are Machining Mosquito Mark II. Machining Mosquito Mark II is the better one, fantastic. But the Machining Tarantula Mark II has to Legion with Hornet, so I run it 4 and 2. Hornet's skill, when placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard and Legion, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and stun it. And Mosquito's ability is, during your turn, if you have a Machining Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2k, and the auto, once per turn, when this unit attack hits, choose one of your rearguards and stand it, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and stun it. Second to last grade 2, Machining Armor Beetle. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or rearguard, choose one of your units, throw it into your soul. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and stun it. And 3 copies of Machining Papilio. It's an 8k grade 2, but I adore it because it's simple. Call it, choose one of your opponent's rearguards to stun. Just free call for stun. Free stun for a call. Onto the G zone, starting with 5 G guards. 3 Scarab Gas. Scarab Gas skill is when this unit is placed on Guardian Circle. If your opponent has 2 or more units at rest, gains 5k. Grice Fort is when this unit is placed on Guardian Circle during the battle that your opponent's Vanguard attacks, you may counterblast 1, rest all their units in the back row, and this unit gains 5k for every 2 units that are rested. So they have 4, gains 10k, 2, gains 1 of them, 6 rested, and it gains 15. 3 copies of Jaggy's Devil, on hit, stun 2 rearguards. 3 copies of Stun Beetle. Stun Beetle's a good card, but it has to hit. And it's a GB2, Counterblast 2, G Personal Blast. When this unit attack hits, you might pay the cost. If you do, choose your opponent's Vanguard. It is stun, and they cannot normal ride during their next ride phase. So it stops the normal ride. If they have superior rides, then that can still go off. But the problem is it has to hit. And there's just not a good enough way to make it so powerful that you can guarantee the hit. 1 copy of Paraspear. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, rest all your opponent's units. If 3 or more are at rest, draw a card. It gains 5k until end of turn. And most importantly, 4 copies of the way too easy card, Machining Destroyer. Carapace, Mutant Deity Machining Destroyer. What a god he is. Once per turn, counterblast 1 card with Machining in its card name. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards to stun. If you have 4 or more rearguards with Machining in their card names, choose your opponent's Vanguard to stun in addition. So just stun their Vanguard, stun their other front row, then call Papilio to stun the other front row, or stun their Vanguard, stun a really important, stun a Volt Line. You can lock down the field really easily. He starts off counterblast with 1 to stun 2, and then there's a lot of ways to just counterblast any, or a lot of ways to not counterblast any and to stun the field. So I'm Joey, and this has been Cardfight Crazy. Hope you're crazy too.